on Irish News Radio. I haven't done my programme for a few days now due to people being busy with local election. The producer of the show has been very busy with the local election. I myself have been busy as well with different things and personal things. We've been very busy with my children and stuff, so the show hasn't happened. But just a quick chat on what's going on. Hopefully we'll be talking to wonderful Eileen herself. Has been very busy helping Gemma O'Doherty with local elections as well, or European elections, Gemma O'Doherty. So people have been busy at the moment, so things are happening and busy. So hopefully we'll see something of a voice. But I was talking to a French lady on how absolutely clueless the Irish are. Like, she was telling me about people being shot on the streets in France, and the French are waking up. It's even in French media where I was like, we don't even get told anything. We haven't heard anything on the Irish media. And, she was actually quite shocked and surprised by being here that there's so little information about what's going on and the protests all around Europe, but particularly in France. And that the Irish seem to be on cuckoo land, where they really have no idea. And it's a very dangerous situation because the government can completely control what our thoughts are. And then you can see that with the abortion referendum and everything else. And we'll go on about what's happened with the abortion referendum after it happened. I mean, whether I don't agree with repealing the age, because I don't think people really understood what that really meant. And I do believe people really, majority, just didn't look into it and didn't understand that they were kind of bullied into this, it's women's choice, it's this, it's that, it's for safety of women. They didn't really look that during the 8th, women were safe. They're talking about that we could be up to 10,000 abortions a year, 800 to 900 every month since abortion has come in. And we'll go on and I'll talk about the horrific case where parents were told that their child had a fetal abnormalities, and they didn't ask for abortion, but they were talked into it. And we'll go on about that in a while. But also what I want to talk about today is the sports again that has been pushed, this whole liberal agenda that there is now two sports. There's male sports and there's unisex sports. Women's sports has been taken off the agenda. There is no more such thing as women's sports, as they have destroyed it. And it's so sad to see this day where you watch millions of women who have trained and worked hard in their countries to compete on a local or a higher level to the Olympics will be stripped. And all sports all across thousands of women will be stripped the right to compete, and for generations going ahead. It's really very sad that, and anybody who talks out about it, because the left really want to push this, are pushed into silence. As transgender, there's transgender men who competed as a male, and he did mediocre as a male, but then he went on to compete as a female, as a transgender, and he's blown all females out because, again, as I've explained, there is no way a female can compete on that level. It's so unfair. It's really unfair. It's a really, really unfair situation where, you have males competing. As I said, there's two sports now. There's a male sports and there's a unisex sports. Women's sports has gone. And it's because of the leftists and their push for this bullshit. It's so heartbreaking for women all around the world and for future generations if nothing is being done. Women who should be getting these medals and who should be who should be reaching the heights that they should be, because that's, that they're racing to the top of their ability, are being blown out of the water by males, because of this bullshit transgender label. Like, it's so unfair. Um, so, in the future, you won't actually see natural women reaching to Olympics levels, because these transgender will be taking women's places, because there's no way females will be able to reach the males from their hormones, their bodies, their strength. There is absolutely no way. So eventually you will have males in all male event in Olympics. One side are called transgender and the others are called males. You will stop seeing actual women in the Olympic level if this is to continue on, because there is no way women can compete on that level with sports. There's absolutely no way. So you'll be watching more and more women being pushed to the sideline while transgender male take over all sports, all competitions that should be women's, and all their goals. Like, going forward, it's quite shocking, and there's nobody allowed to speak about it. But there will not be any women in Olympics anymore. The transgender, they're not women, not born women. They don't have women hormones. So it'll be, yeah, as I said, men and transgender sports from now on. Women will be blown out of the water, and it's a very, very sad day. They can't win. There is absolutely no. Their best will never be good enough to beat a man in sports. And I'm sorry, but that is the reality. Men are born stronger. Their hormones, their body is completely different. They can't get to the same strength. They just can't. It's not going to happen. So they will be blown out. There will be no such thing as women competing anymore. It's a very, very sad day. And then we'll talk about as I was saying earlier on, about Holles Street. Holles Street tells the parents that their baby has fetal abnormalities. They were devastated when it proved to be wrong, that the baby was perfect. Abortion was carried out over the 15 weeks. Now parents want to investigate the hospital who set up the abortion, and they feel like they were pushed into abortion. They are broken and want an honest answer to why the couple are in a deep state of grief. They didn't want an abortion, but they feel they were talked into by the hospital, that they never brought up a termination, that they never discussed a termination. But the hospital goes on to say why that they encouraged the couple to have an abortion. So now you don't even have a choice. They didn't even have time to think about it or breathe about it. They were told abnormalities, quick push into an abortion, it'll all be grand, you'll be over it, it's all fine. Now, there's two kind of no thoughts into this, been pushed into it, right? Not having able to think this out if this is even what they want. The second thing is, it's now, and it's clearly, and what we've always said, that you're making it okay to kill, not normal babies, like babies with problems, but, healthy babies. If that couple had decided, we don't want this baby, that's perfectly fine. Like, killing babies is never right, and it is very, very sad. My heart goes out to this couple, but there's been, like, I don't know, a few thousand that have been killed already. 800 or 900 every month since abortion has been brought in has been killed. There's not a thought to those babies. And this is sad because it's not what the couple wanted. And they were kind of pushed into it by the hospital by, it's best for the child, best for you. You're better off getting rid of this. This is going to be a burden to you in your life, and it's a burden to its life. And, it's unhealthy. You might as well just get rid of it and try again. It's no big deal. It's just a clump of cells. Just get rid of it now and kill it off and start again. Not mentioning how many women have died through abortions, how actually dangerous it is for women. But anyway, so they were kind of pushed in, told that it was the best for them, and then it comes back out that there was actually a complete healthy baby. There was nothing wrong with the baby. So outrage, the outrage among, even pro-choice, that it was a healthy baby. But like, seriously, I don't know what is worse on this argument. That the baby was healthy, that it was okay to kill the baby if it wasn't healthy. Um, and that you could all make this choice of life and death, or it's okay to kill the baby if the parents didn't want it, even if it's healthy or not healthy, if the parents didn't want it. But this parents did want this child, and that's the outrage. But it can't be any right that people can choose who lives or die, if they're healthy, not healthy, if you're wanted, not wanted. It's completely insane to me. It doesn't make any sense. Whether a baby is wanted shouldn't be a life sentence or not. Because somebody wants you or not, you shouldn't be like, oh, okay, let's get rid of this. There should even be a level. Even the repeal side, I think majority of them, I do believe, we're fooled into this. And I think there has to be, a time, like this baby, was killed after 15 weeks, and they are killed. Now, surely there should be a level of what stage in a pregnancy is okay to terminate. Now, you've got to remember, years ago when they brought it into England and America, medical advancements was limited. We've way past all these medical advancements. There's many ways a child can live with different abnormalities and with a lot of medical help. There is no need to kill babies. There's so much medical help out there now. And as for babies that are unwanted, like, if they're unwanted, what stage do you think it's okay to kill them at? Do you think it's a week before the birth, a month before the birth, 2 months? You've got to remember, they're fully formed. After 3 months, they are fully formed. So, like, this 12 weeks, pretty much babies have a heartbeat at that stage. They have a heartbeat, not pretty much. They have a heartbeat at that stage. Like, really, when do you determine life? And I believe it should be when the heart beats. Because if that's when we recognize how death is in people, if the heart stops, that's how we recognize the person is dead, then surely that's how we should recognize when life starts, when the heart starts beating. They're broken-hearted and will sue the hospital, but because it's such a leftist government and a leftist media and a leftist courts, they probably will be told to just get over it and have another one. Abortions are normal, they're natural, they're part of life, sort of attitude. I doubt they'll get much help, to be honest. I'd be very surprised if anything really happens for them. But yet, this woman, the Indian woman, who apparently died because she didn't have an abortion, which was a complete joke because she died of blood poisoning. People have died from blood poisoning. Women have died of blood poisoning, whether they had an abortion or didn't have an abortion, if they had the baby or not. Like, it's nothing to do. It's like literally completely doesn't make sense. But yeah, the pro-choice really wanted to push it down. They knew perfectly well it had nothing to do. The majority of pro-choice. Now you have a lot of people who are pro-choice in my life. Um, Now most majority, I'd say, are very naive and what if kind of situation, and we're really nervous about the what ifs. And I think if they actually watched a documentary on it or actually knew what abortion was, in their heads, it's like a period and, it just goes away. It's like, gets cleaned out and everything's okay, happy day. Majority of them are that innocent. Um, there's a few that I know of, not a quite a few, there's a few that I know of who've had abortions, who are quite bitter about the fact that they've had abortions and almost want to push it on other people to make it feel like that it's okay, so therefore they're okay. Because I suppose it leaves a quite a deep hole. in you, and it's quite a scarring. It's not an easy thing you can walk away from, or that you ever walk away. As much as the leftists and liberals kind of go on, I love my abortion, I had the women that left, as I said, most of them are like completely naive and actually think it's a clump of cells, like a period. They actually really don't understand. And yet, that they'll go on about the chicken's egg, and even when you try to explain that an egg is like a period that's unfertilized, a baby is a human being that is fertilized. It's human. It's a human life. It's not a period. But as I said, a lot of them are kind of stupid. But the ones that have had abortions know what it is, and it's almost like, I suppose, if everyone else does it, then they think that they will feel better about having one, or that it's becoming normal, I suppose, in their heads, because it's quite a hard thing to deal with. A majority of them don't get therapy or anything about it, and are become very destructive to themselves because they haven't had any therapy, and quite bitter and angry and almost like a push on them. But the ones that I do know who have had abortion have all, none have been for health issues, none have been for anything. They just changed their mind, or a relationship went wrong. And how they got pregnant was, most of them, all of them that I know of, just didn't take contraceptives. Now, some have a so-called excuse that they couldn't take the pill, they couldn't take this, and their boyfriend doesn't like condoms. It's those people. It's people who have taken risks and who have got themselves into that situations, and who didn't go for the morning after pill because they didn't have the €30, or um, they gave it to somebody else on their medical card, this sort of kind of thing, or they just couldn't be arsed to go down to the chemist and take it. And that's the ones who've had it and then got pregnant because they just weren't really thinking. And then the baby pays the price of their stupidity. But it's all selfish reasons. It's like, couldn't be arsed taking the pill, I get fat on that. And it's not as enjoyable for him without a condom, more selfishness. I don't really want to take the morning after pill if I don't really need to. I'm not sure about all those chemicals. Oh shit, I'm pregnant. Okay, let's have an abortion. And now the abortion is free. Of course it was going to reach the numbers. And I would say it'll even reach higher. They're talking about 10,000 babies that should be here aren't. Now it's three times what the so-called amount of women who were traveling to the United Kingdom to have abortions. They said, oh, it would bring it down, it'd be less. It's no such thing. And it won't be. People who've gone on to have abortions will have them again and again, as they do in the UK. And when it was brought in the UK, as I said before, it was brought in at a time when medical advancements was limited and it was needed. In Ireland, we have moved on, and in other countries, they're looking to take it back because there's no need for it. If you take responsibility, which everybody should, it's a life. If you're willing to have sex without any contraceptives and you refuse to get the morning after pill out of laziness, or and morning after pill is free if you're on a medical card. It just should be made more available. This is what should have been thought about, not like what happens after when you get pregnant. Because if it's a rape victim and all these other things that the left kept going on about, they should be given the morning after pill. Now, the efficiency level of a morning after pill is actually higher than abortion, meaning the chances of you continue on pregnancy after a morning after pill is less likely than the child surviving abortion. So anyway, it's pretty sad anyway for the family that it happened, but it's just 800 to 900 each month. The eighth did save lives, and that's what it really shows you. There's another woman who was told also that her child had fetal abnormalities, and and that, she should go ahead and, have an abortion. It's better for you, it's better for the child, it's better for everybody. It's no point. She refused. Now she was obviously stronger than this woman. God love this woman, because hearing this story must make her really upset, because she was talked into it, and some characters aren't that strong, so she was talked into the abortion. Anyway, this woman who wasn't talked into it just stood her ground and said, no, I want this baby, I don't care, what it is, I'm gonna give it a life. And she stood up to the doctors, and she had her baby, and her baby is perfectly healthy. And she said she doesn't think that she was an unusual case. She says she thinks that, doctors now are advising, if they see anything, to abort the baby. Where before, I suppose, they were like, wait and see. So yeah, it'll be the one of many heartbreaking. But at least, I suppose, that she found out. I mean, the hospital could have probably hid that the baby was normal. It's but then it brings it back to the argument: is it okay to kill kids who aren't perfect? You know, or is it okay to kill them at all? Like, it really, at what stage? Like, why isn't it brought in that you know that you teach people responsibility of having sex? If they have sex, this is something that can happen. So these are the things you do. You take precautions. And you get yourself tested. If you can't take the pill, you go and see what other one you can take. And if you really feel that you haven't had anything, and it's just a night of passion and and you're not interested in taking anything, morning after pill, you can take up to 5 days after. It's not just the next day. And they're readily available, and they're free if you're on medical card, and the max is €30. Surely that's a lot more. That's worth every penny than having an abortion, even though it's free. The mental the mental scars that an abortion will leave on your head, on your mind, not even mentioning the physical scars that it will leave. People end up with abnormal bleeding. They can die. There's so many women who have died in the United Kingdom. Will end up infertile, infections. There's so much danger to abortion that was never talked about. Not just the mental, and it will leave you mentally, even if you are lucky enough that, physically you come out of it okay, and there's no scarring, there's no internal bleeding, there's nothing, you're actually do okay. Mentally, it'll always be a scar in your head, and you will always remember the birthday. No matter what people say. I know people who have had abortions. I know quite a few women, and they do know their birthdays. They knew exactly what age that child should be. And some of them were, unfortunately, the ones who pushed hard to get the abortion into this country, because they are still so damaged and so scarred. What really probably should have been done was to help those women. And I think that's where the big divide came from: women who were still very much scarred from having an abortion, to what they saw is these pro-lives who were holier than holier, or that they wanted to see. The majority of them knew it wasn't anything to do with religion, but I suppose it's like a thing that they did, and I saw all these people, kind of like myself, saying, look, this isn't the right way, but we didn't reach them enough, and that was a mistake on the pro-life and people working with pro-life, to not realize how scarred these women are, and how bitterly scarred they are, and they need help. They need help now. And they need some sort of healing and help to talk about it. And that's what the money should have been gone into, instead of taking it from maternity hospitals and putting it into a killing campaign of babies. Now they've taken out all the money from maternity, what should be going into maternity hospitals, and 2 women have died in maternity hospitals because there's a lack of money now. Two odd cases of where they've died in recent months because there's just no money, there's no hospital staff, there's nothing. Everything's been taken out to fund this killing campaign. Instead of what really should have happened was the women who've had abortions really should have been looked after, because they were the ones who were very angry and very bitter. And even some of the men whose partner had an abortion were very angry and very bitter. And even them, that's where probably it should have, the pro-life should have been reaching to them, to help them. And to help them see that they're not going to go to hell. There's nothing going to happen, but they need to be healed, and they need to understand that they were sold a pack of lies. And that's where it was very sad. I will hopefully be talking to Eileen tomorrow. Thank you very much. And we'll talk tomorrow on the Bonnery Show on Irish News Radio. Talk to you tomorrow with the wonderful...
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.